Hello everybody, let's talk about Jurassic World Dominion, the third film in the Jurassic World trilogy, and of course, the sixth film in the Jurassic Park franchise. Now, I'm a big fan of the first Jurassic Park movie. When I first saw it as a kid, it completely blew me away. I was just in awe of everything about that movie. Just the special effects. I just loved the cast. It was a very funny movie. And when I rewatched it many years later, I realized, you know what? This movie is actually pretty silly, but it somehow works. Like, it's a horror movie for kids, is what it was. And, you know, that's one of the things that Spielberg was really good with. So Jurassic Park was an incredible movie. And then you had the sequels. Then you had The Lost World, which I remember seeing. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it on video. I rented it on video. And I sat there just stone-faced. I was like, this is ass. Like, The Lost World, for me, is probably still... Well, I don't know if it's still the worst one, but it's just really bad. Really bad movie. And it's not because it's, like, particularly... Like, it's badly made or anything. It's Steven Spielberg directing, so there's still some quality there. Like, the film looks great. Like, it looks fine. It's just not a good script. And the pacing of the movie is way off. Like, by the time you get to the city in the movie, which is really the part of the movie you're most interested in getting to, you're bored out of your mind. Dinosaurs running around in the city should not be so boring. There is no reason why you should be so bored watching this movie. So that's always kind of pissed me off a little bit, especially since it had Jeff Goldblum in the lead, which I was very excited about. But, you know, it turns out the movie was boring as hell. And then you had Jurassic Park 3, which I personally really like. So everybody hates Jurassic Park 3. That's the one with Sam Neill. I don't know why everybody hates this movie. It's directed by a good director. It looks great. It's got this kind of B-movie vibe to it. I think you got William H. Macy in there. It's got a good kind of supporting cast. It really does have a B-movie vibe to it, but so does the first Jurassic Park movie. I feel like it nails this kind of the Jurassic Park vibe a lot better than Lost World. And then they rebooted everything with Jurassic World, which I actually thought was alright. I did like Jurassic World. I thought it was a decent movie. The sequel, Fallen Kingdom, to a lesser extent, I did enjoy it, but I thought it was definitely a step down from the first movie. And then you have Dominion. And I didn't really have any big expectations for this one. I just expected maybe more of the same, just on a slightly bigger scale, since obviously by the end of the last movie, the dinosaurs are just running loose in the world because they were dumb enough to just let them out, I guess. There was like a little girl who just let everybody out. It's just really dumb. Anyway, whenever anyone lets a dinosaur out, like into the wild, in this movie and the last one, I'm just like, stop. So yeah, that's what I was expecting from this movie. I didn't expect it to be particularly bad or particularly good. But based on the pattern of blockbusters since last year, I expected more bad than good, but I really didn't know. And I was happy that the original cast of Jurassic Park would be reunited. That's always cool, although I'm always worried about the whole, legacy sequel kind of thing where like you end up with like some classic characters that are mishandled and then you barely see them anyway, and then you regret them ever being involved in this kind of revival in the first place. So I was worried about that, but still, you have Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, competent, very competent actors, very reliable actors, so I was just kind of like hopeful that this would work out, although I was unsure how that was going to fit in with the Jurassic World characters. So this movie is out of its freaking mind. This movie is batshit insane, okay? I'm bearing the lead here. No, this movie is completely bananas, okay? And that's both a good thing and kind of a bad thing. I enjoyed this movie, just in terms of like just sitting there, chewing on popcorn and a large soda, just watching a dumb movie. But it is dumb. This movie is dumb. There were parts of this movie that were a rough one. For a second there, I thought I was watching a Michael Bay movie. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. So the movie opens with a scene that I really didn't think we needed, which is this. It does this thing where there's like the fake kind of like news thing where like, there's like a fake CNN or whatever where they're just like explaining what the world has become. And then it cuts to the movie. And I'm just like, just get rid of this whole kind of like cliched, after the dinosaurs were released, everybody went into hiding. And all this bad stuff happened. And now there is this company called Biosyn, which will become important in the movie you're about to watch. And just show me the freaking movie. Like the opening scene, apart from this bit, is good. It's like people like breaking in to the stables with all these dinosaurs. It's mysterious, it's dark, you don't necessarily know what's happening. You don't know that Claire is involved until you see her. It's a good scene to start the movie with. It's exciting. Don't forget about this other shit. So already I was like, all right, whatever. I don't really like this, but let's get into it. And so what happens is Claire is involved in like helping release mistreated dinosaurs, I guess. Or like not release them, but like release them in like sanctuaries and get them all fixed up if they're sick or whatever. Meanwhile, you've got Owen, played by Chris Pratt, who is on a horse, herding, catching dinosaurs in the snow, in mountains or whatever. And then he brings them to, again, same kind of thing. Protecting the dinosaurs, because that's what's really important in this world now. It's not just like getting the world back to normal. It's just freaking, God forbid, the dinosaurs should have a bad day. So they're looking after this young girl who's moody teenager. I hated this girl, by the way. Oh my God. From beginning of the movie to the end, I couldn't stand her. And with child actors, 1 out of 100 is going to be good. Okay? That's just how it is. And to be fair to the young actress, it's not so much her performance, although it's not very good. It's more like that character. I just couldn't stand that character. So freaking annoying. And honestly, like you could have easily just not have that character in there. But obviously, if they set things up in the last movie, they kind of had to. But in terms of like, what's interesting and important with this story, I just didn't give a shit. I just didn't give a shit about this character. And every time she was on screen, she was really annoying. And you remember the kids from the first Jurassic Park movie? They were kind of charming. They were like likable kids, all right? They were annoying in a kind of the same way that some kids are annoying. But they were like competent and they were smart and they weren't just doing stupid shit from A to Z. Okay, in this movie, this girl is just like, she's rude, she's wrong about everything, she's corny as hell, and she is just bad. She's just very dislikable from the beginning. Just the way she treats her parents and everything is just like, just very dislikable. And in fact, before I get to that, let's get to the story. So basically, she runs away because she's a dumbass, and she is caught by these bad guys who are going to bring her to this lab. Biosyn is the company I mentioned before. Very subtle, by the way. Biosyn. It's a sin. It's a biological sin that they're working on, you see. And you also have locusts. You have giant locusts are a big problem in this movie. So you've got the kind of plagues. You've got the biblical vibe that they're going for, which doesn't really add up, but they were going for something. I like the idea at least, but very subtle. Anyway, so they want to take the girl to Biosyn to basically kind of not experiment on her, but use her cells because she's like a clone. Long story. Don't worry about it. Just go with it. She's a clone. Her cells are special for curing all sorts of things. So because there's a form of locusts that Biosyn has unleashed upon the world, just giant locusts that are just going through crops like it's nothing. Because the whole idea was that Biosyn could sell their seeds that the locusts don't go to eat, so that they could basically kind of wipe out all crops. And then people would have to turn to Biosyn to get the seeds that they need. This obviously backfires. But you've got B.D. Wong's character from the Jurassic Park movies. He's in this movie, and he is working at Biosyn, but he's trying to get the cells from the girl's, DNA to stop this, to basically create some kind of another form of locust that can kill all the other bad locusts. I don't know why we care about this in this movie. Don't worry. It's there's kind of a redemption arc with B.D. Wong's character here, where he's trying to make up for all his fuck-ups up to this point, which I actually thought was not a bad idea, although B.D. Wong's acting could be a bit better in this movie. At the same time, you've got Laura Dern reconnecting with whatever his name is, Alan, played by Sam Neill. She goes to see him, and they're kind of like, they're still obviously kind of smitten with each other, even though so many years have passed. And she wants Alan to go with her to Biosyn because she's been invited to have a tour of the place or whatever. And then they want to steal a sample of the locusts to prove that Biosyn is involved in this. And also, they know that Jeff Goldblum, Dr. Ian Malcolm, is doing talks in Biosyn. We don't really know why. We think maybe he's involved or something. Maybe he's turned bad somehow. It seems odd. But no, it turns out he's just doing speeches where he's actually like telling the truth. But for some reason, they let him do it. I don't know. Anyway, so they go there, and then they meet with Jeff Goldblum, who's just like, well, yes, don't worry, I've got your back. See, take this bracelet, and yes, you can go to sub-levels and find the locusts. I'll be up there. Like he helps them out, and in his Jeff Goldblumy way to get the sample, etc. Meanwhile, Jurassic World 3 is happening. Okay, while all this is going on, Jurassic World 3 is happening. You got Bryce Dallas-Howard and Chris Pratt are somewhere else searching for the little girl who is on her way to Biosyn. And it's a whole other movie going on there, okay? Where they go somewhere, I don't even remember where it was, if it was in Greece, Eastern Europe, somewhere, and there's an evil lady who's the mother of, what's her name, Daisy Johnson in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's in Altered Carbon as well. There's the evil lady with the magic bracelets, where if she points the bracelet at you, all the dinosaurs with computer chips in their brain can attack you. And so we have like a big, well, first they go into this like underground dungeon where there's like dinosaur orgies or something. I don't know. They have dinosaur fights, and they eat dinosaur, and it's basically the nightclub from the Super Mario Brothers movie. And then there's a big chase scene because the dinosaurs with the chips in their head are following Claire and Owen specifically, and it's just they're all going to this plane that's driven by this girl who is actually one of the better characters in this movie. She's actually the only kind of new character they actually kind of liked. Unfortunately, the writing wasn't very good, so she gets some cringy dialogue, but she was good. She's the pilot lady. So anyway, they rejoin the pilot lady, and then they're off to Biosyn. But this whole sequence that I just described to you is completely irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. You could have got all of this out, but you wanted some action in the movie, right? It can't just be Sam Neill walking around the lab. So all the action takes place there. It's just a excuse to have some action happening. So you have the action sequences are good in this movie. They are well done, although the kind of Chris Pratt on the bike, getting followed by dinosaurs and shit. This whole part is really like it's weird because it's shot like a Mission Impossible movie, or it's shot like the Bourne Ultimatum or something. It's really weird. It really doesn't fit with what you would think a Jurassic World movie would look like or feel like. And in a way, it's kind of refreshing because at least it's something different. It's almost like a different genre of the Jurassic, franchise. But in another way, it also really, really doesn't fit. Like, it just feels really odd. But again, on the other hand, you get some solid action out of it, but it's really, really dumb. It's really dumb. And the evil bracelet lady, you never see her again. I thought she was gonna turn out to be the kind of co-villain, because the main villain of this movie is the CEO of Biosyn, okay? Who's this kind of like Steve Jobs looking dude, or like Tim Cook looking dude, more like. Yeah, he's more like Tim Cook. He looks more like Tim Cook. And he is the main villain. And then she's kind of like, I thought she was gonna chase after Claire and Chris Pratt all the way to Biosyn, and she was gonna have like a fight with them at some point and get eaten by a dinosaur. That doesn't happen. You never, after the whole sequence, the chase sequence, you never see her again. And I'm just like, why did you, what? Like, there's a lot of inconsistencies in this movie. Like, for example, the scene that follows where they're on the plane, the CEO of Biosyn obviously doesn't want this plane to go to Biosyn. So he unleashes these flying dinosaurs, the pterodactyls or whatever, onto the plane, and they destroy the plane in a second, which happens very quickly, but anyway. And Chris Pratt's plan, he tells Claire, he's like, hey, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna push the ejector seat, and you're gonna fly up, okay? And the parachute will open, and you'll be fine. Then you can land and find the girl. And he's acting like this is some service that he's doing for her. Like, he's helping her out because the plane is crashing. And it's like, do you remember how the freaking pterodactyls are flying around? Do you really think the parachute is going to do any better than the plane? And obviously, the ejector seat flies up. Instantly, a pterodactyl destroys the parachute. And she falls, somehow survives, crashes into the trees. And she doesn't get the girl. She doesn't do anything. So all this was completely pointless, especially since they land the plane. I mean, they land it in the ice, but they survive. So it's like, and then there's a whole scene on an icy lake with some other dinosaur. Again, there's a lot of trimming that could have been done in this movie. This movie is too long already. This movie is too long. It really is. Like, when the second act ended, I was like, hey, we're almost done. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. The third act felt like longer than the second act. Dude, this movie just goes on and on and on. And they don't really connect the dots. Like, they don't connect the Jurassic Park cast stuff with the Jurassic World stuff until way later into the movie. And it's kind of nice when it happens. You know what really backfired with this movie? Putting those two casts together, because as soon as those casts come together, you realize, holy shit, were these characters from Jurassic Park good? And holy shit, are these characters from Jurassic World terrible? You know, you see the contrast, because Spielberg created, of course, with the help of writers, etc., he created three-dimensional characters who, as soon as you see them, you know what they're about, you know their personality, and you just, like, instantly you love these people. You know, Sam Neill is not the most, over-the-top character ever, but you love this guy. This guy, he knows what he's doing. He's a smart dude. He's a friendly guy. There's some pathos to this character where he's kind of sad a little bit, but he's not showing it. Very three-dimensional character. Same thing with Laura Dern. Same thing with Jeff Goldblum. They are fantastic three-dimensional characters that, 50, 60 years from now, people are still going to watch Jurassic Park and just fall in love with these characters, Are people really going to, so many years later, going to watch, like, Jurassic World Dominion and be like, wow, I remember this Claire and Owen characters. They were fantastic. And that little girl, top notch. No one's going to care because they're horrible. In the first movie, I feel like Chris Pratt had the right amount of humor and just being serious in the movie. I think there was a good balance there. And then in the last movie and this one, he's become really, really boring. Like, he's really serious all the time, and he's not good. Like, there's no development to his character. He's so boring. Same thing with Claire. Claire is now reduced. Like, she was like an important character in the first movie. In this movie, she is reduced to just making faces. This is it. This is an entire performance. Dinosaurs. She's awful. And it's a shame because I like these actors, but man, The Jurassic World stuff is bad in this movie. It really is. And it feels really like it's getting in the way of a good, potentially really good Jurassic Park movie, or at least like watchable. And this movie tries very hard to give us a kind of Steven Spielberg experience. You know, there's some interesting shots here and there. The best shot is the one where the T-Rex shows up and he's like circled by some statue in the background. It's like the Jurassic Park logo. That was cool. That was a good shot. And there's some nice shots in this movie. Colin Trevorrow, the director, does a really good job with the visuals here. It's just not Spielberg, all right? There's a lot of trimming that should have been done. The whole Jurassic World, Claire and Owen stuff should have been merged in with the Jurassic Park stuff way earlier. We should have all been going to Biosyn, everyone should have been on a dig or something, where they have the chase sequence and stuff. There should have been a dig there where Alan Grant was doing stuff, and then Laura Dern goes to see him, and then all the characters could just meet up there, and then about 2/3 of the way into the movie they can finally go to Biosyn, and then you've got Jeff Goldblum, who you think is with the bad guys, but actually he's betraying them. It would be an interesting twist. I don't know. I think this movie needed a different structure. It needed to really minimize the Jurassic World stuff or rewrite it entirely. The action is competent here. The dinosaurs are fine. There's no real wonder with the dinosaurs anymore, unfortunately. They're just kind of there. You don't really care about them, especially the way they're handled in these Jurassic World movies specifically is they're handled like dogs. They're all like dogs. They all act like dogs. And I know it's Jurassic Park kind of did that a little bit. But this is too much. We humanize these freaking dinosaurs to an extent where it's just absolutely ridiculous. We have to worry in this movie about so many things we should not be worrying about. Really. Should we be worrying about Blue again? I don't care about Blue. I didn't care about Blue in the last movie. I don't care about Blue in this movie. I don't know if I care about Blue in the first movie. I guess a little bit more. But Blue has a child in this movie, and we're meant to care about getting Blue's child. I'm just bro, there's enough dinosaurs out there. Can we just... I got bored of these dinosaurs, dude. And they keep bringing these dinosaurs out like they're people. The T-Rex comes out in this movie, and he's fighting the Giga Chad T-Rex or whatever his name is. We're going to call him that from now on, okay? Giga Chad T-Rex. So there's this whole build-up to the T-Rex fighting the Giga Chad T-Rex, and I didn't give a shit. And then the Edward Scissorhands T-Rex shows up, and I don't know what the hell I was watching after a while. You got Jeff Goldblum in the middle going, ooh, what's going on there? Dinosaurs. Locusts. Oh, my locusts. Yes, locusts. This movie is ridiculous. This movie is absolutely ridiculous. And I know it's a movie about dinosaurs. It's a Jurassic Park sequel. They're all ridiculous to a certain extent. But this movie is actually too much. Although the last movie was kind of too much as well. Look, if you didn't like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, you're going to hate this movie because it's more of that. It's how Fallen Kingdom was kind of turned up to 11? This is turned up to 211, all right? So just expect that. I don't know. This movie had far too many holes in the story where you were just I don't know how any of that makes sense, or why did that happen, or why do I care about that? It's why couldn't we get here faster, There's so many, and sometimes things are rushed. There's one dude who's working against the CEO guy, and he shows up in different rooms in a heartbeat. And I'm wait, what's happening? They're really rushing the third act at one point. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know about this movie. I don't hate it because at least it made me laugh. At least there were some parts in this movie, the parachute sequence. I was just what the hell is this about? This makes no sense. And the whole chase sequence, everything was so ridiculous. It did actually make me laugh quite a few times. I had a good time watching this movie purely because of the original cast, the Jurassic Park cast, who were awesome. I love these guys. Although Laura Dern, I didn't think she was very good in this movie, but I don't know. I feel like everyone was kind of like bland in this movie. Like, honestly, even the original cast, to a lesser extent, Jeff Goldblum, because he's got this natural charisma. Even him, though, like, everyone kind of felt a bit bland. But the Jurassic World characters felt really bland. Like, really, really bland. And yeah, this movie sucks. I'm going to be honest with you. This movie kind of sucks, but it's fun. So, it's kind of a tough review to make because this is kind of a shitty movie, but I liked it. So, I don't know if I should recommend it, really. It all depends on what you're in the mood for, you know? Like I said, if you don't like Fallen Kingdom, I probably would give this a miss. If you really want some nostalgia, you want to see this original cast back together, why not? You go on a Friday night, go on a midnight screening or something. It's so dumb. It's so silly. Go with a group of friends, get some caffeine, and yeah, you'll have a good time. You know, it's a good time, but it's too much. It's too long. It's too silly, and it really makes no sense. So and the cast is very bland. So I'm throwing that out there. This is the worst Jurassic World movie. I don't know if it's worse than The Lost World as a Jurassic Park movie, but it's certainly it's more entertaining than The Lost World. But The Lost World is a better movie. So I don't know, guys. It's not a brilliant film, okay? If you want to see something trashy, okay, but with enough nostalgia to keep you going and enough action to keep you going, dumb action, you don't mind that it's dumb, check it out. Why not? Why not? At this point, if you've seen all the other movies, you might as well, you know. Otherwise, if you want to see like a really, really good movie, or you want to see something, you know, epic and so much better than Jurassic World, like the epic finale of this soaring epic, this ain't it. This is a movie about locusts, okay? Yeah. It's a movie about locusts and bracelets or something, and clones. It's a weird one. It's a weird one, guys. Like I said, I enjoyed it, but yeah. Against my better judgment. I have many less brain cells after watching this, but it wasn't unwatchable, you know? Like, you can sit there, turn your brain off, and you'll have a good time. You'll have a reasonably good time. It's just, this movie needed much better writing because, holy shit. Much better writing and much better editing because, damn. All right, thank you for watching this messy review. I will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.